This is Carl at National RV Detroit, and I'm going to walk you through your 2020 Lite by Flagstaff. This is model number 21FBRS right here. Okay, so I'm standing at the door side of the trailer at the rear. So you can see you've got a scissor type stabilizer jack in each corner. Those are operated with a 3/4 inch crank or a drill with a 3/4 inch socket on it. Alright, you got a power awning with an LED strip. Your stairs fold right into the trailer. Now if you need to adjust these for the terrain, you can pull this pin right here. Hopefully you can see that. I'm having a hard time seeing the monitor. And you can adjust the legs up and down for length to make it, to adjust it to the terrain if you need to. You have outside speakers, of course. This is a vent hood, or this is the vent for the range hood. That's over your range. So if you're going to use the fan in the range hood to vent to the outside, you have to push these latches up so the baffle flaps freely. Otherwise you want it closed. But anytime you're venting to the outside, you need to make that flap freely, okay? You have a TV mount, cable, or in this case it's probably antenna through right there, and power. Alright, this is the rail that your grill hangs on. Your grill is in the front compartment here. I'll show you right now. Let me get under here. You can see it's a griddle type. You have a quick connect hose with it. This is the female. Let me get a picture of it here for you. This is the female side of the hose. This is the male side. The female side connects to here on your griddle, and then the male side will connect under here to that quick connect, LP quick connect right there. All right. Also, this is the rack that it hangs on, this black thing here. Alright, and let me get in here a little bit. This is a utility table that you can hang right next to the grill, and this is just a bag for your power cord. Your power cord is plugged into the trailer right now. This is, of course, a dump hose and a electrical reducer to reduce your 30 down to a 15 amp. Okay, this brass colored crank, that's the one for your stabilizers, 3/4. The smaller one right here is in case your tongue jack fails. You can come over here and crank it manually if you have to. So you would pull this plug out right here, put the crank on there, and you can crank it manually. Okay. Also, this plug here is just in case you wanted to add a solar battery charger to it. You could purchase one, and it'll plug right in there. This one's made by Go Power, so I'm sure that's their plug. I see that plug with different brands, so just keep in mind that unless you want to change the plug out and you were going to get a solar panel battery charger, you try to get one that has the counterpart for that plug there, okay? Alright, so your tanks are 30-pound LP tanks in the full. They're being filled right now, so this is just our test tank on there, but you can see your regulator is an automatic changeover regulator. So you can't select the tanks with this. It just draws the door side tank, then the off door side tank, and back and forth. This green thing here, which is green right now, it's just a gauge. You point the indicator right there at the tank you want to check, and if it's green, then it means you have gas. So it's just a gauge, but it already tells you what you already know, basically. So it doesn't give you a warning or anything like that. It's just confirming that it's something you already know. All right, 2 deep cycle marine batteries wired together as 12 volts, and so you doubled the storage capacity, right? So that's a good thing. You have a kill switch for the battery right here, just on and off. That's on. The only time you're going to shut it off is when you're in storage for a long period of time. Otherwise, you're always going to have it on because your tow vehicle will charge the battery. Your power converter inside charges the battery. So you always want it on because it's going to, otherwise your battery will not charge. Alright, some more pass through. Just so you know, this panel right here, let me back up so you can see it, it's right next to the water heater. There's screws right here. If you take those screws out, it exposes the back of the water heater, and that's where your bypass valves are for winterizing. Right now this is in camping mode, so it's ready to be camped in. Excuse me. This is your water heater. The switches to operate it are inside, but I just want to show you that this switch right here This is for the electric. It's off right now. The water tank is full because we just water tested it, but you always want to make sure there's water in the tank before you ever turn on any power source for the water heater, okay? But this switch here operates the electric heating element that's behind this cover, just so you know. You also can operate this on gas. The switch is just one switch inside. I'll show you those when we get in there. But keep in mind there is a switch for electricity in the lower left-hand corner. Also, this is the drain for it. It's an 1 1/16 6-point socket you need with an extension so you can get it in there to take that out. This is the fill for your fresh water tank. 9 times out of 10 you're going to be using city water because most campgrounds have it. But if you don't have city water, there's no plumbing on the campsite, you can fill this onboard fresh water tank in advance and pump the water out of it using your onboard pump. All right, and also to drain that, you got a very large drain with a gate valve on it, so you can dump your fresh water tank right there. Hopefully you can see that. I'm having a hard time here with deciding whether you can or not. Let me look. Let me stick my hand in there. Oh yeah, right there. I'm sorry. Okay, so right there. You probably could see that. I'm not sure, so I just wanted to make sure. All right, so I mentioned city water. So this is your city water hookup right here. This is what you're normally going to use to get water to your trailer. The only time you use the onboard tank is when you don't have plumbing on the campsite. Also, this has to do with winterizing your trailer, so you'd have to educate yourself a bit on that. That's a winterizing port. This is your black tank flush here, right? This is a cable and satellite through to the interior of the trailer. This, of course, is a outside shower / sprayer, hot and cold water. All right, so let me go to the dump valves here. Right now they're open because we just dumped them as part of prepping it. So you have a black tank valve, which is toilet water and waste, and then you have the gray tank and valve. That's sink and shower water. So you're going to hook your hose onto here. The other end goes in the dump station. Then you're going to dump the black tank first because it's dirtier water than the gray, basically. You'll dump the gray second because it'll help clean out the hose of the toilet waste and water that comes out of your black tank, okay? But if you leave the black tank valve open, there's another feature here. Up here, it's your black tank flush right here. So you'd hook the hose right on there and turn it on, and as long as, like it says on the sticker above it, only turn on the water when you've got this valve open, but you turn it on, it'll spray the inside of your black tank, clean off the sensors, that sort of thing. So it's a good thing to do. It just helps you get your black tank cleaner. All right, that's the black tank flush. Okay. Now, you have a ladder on the back of this, which is good because you have to inspect your trailer. You know, if you're living in the north, you'll inspect it during the summer, obviously. So it's you do it in the spring, you do it in the fall, and then once in the middle of the summer, you'll go up there, you'll walk around, look at all the sealant on the roof, make sure there's no cracking or separation starting, and if there is, then you have to get it taken care of. But it's important, like with this and every other trailer, you have to inspect your roof and you have to inspect the seals on the side. The roof's more important, obviously, but always check the corner areas, any place you see caulk from the camp or from the factory, and if you need to replace it or to touch it up, do that. You don't use caulk from a hardware store. You have to get the correct stuff from an RV place. They'll know what you need. All right. Also, that housing in the center just shows us that this is pre-wired for a backup camera. So if you wanted to put a backup camera up there, we sell them, or else you can purchase them elsewhere. But you have to get the Furion camera that fits in that housing, so make sure you get the right camera. It'll only activate when you turn your running lights on, so you can back up using it, or you can leave it on when you're going down the road if you choose. Okay. All right, so the air conditioning's going, which is good. In a hot month, more than a month actually. All right, so, well, let me look right up here at the control panel. This is the water pump I told you about. Right now we're just water testing it, so it was on, but that draws from the fresh water tank. Also, when you winterize, you'll use that pump also to draw antifreeze into that from that. I showed you on the water panel out there, there's a port for winterizing. You would actually draw the antifreeze through that port. Your water heater on gas and water heater on electric. Remember I told you there's a second electric switch out there, so keep that in mind. Your awning extend, which is very simple, just like so, and in. It goes out 8 feet. You'll be able to see the awning tube when it's all the way out, so you'll know. And then of course your slide room, in and out, right there. That's a Schwintek style slide, just so you know. It's made by Lippert now, or owned by Lippert, but it's still referred to as a Schwintek. Okay, these are just lights here, and this one here is your Wi-Fi Ranger. Now the Wi-Fi Ranger is basically a signal booster and a router that the antenna's on top of your, the whole device actually is on top of your trailer. So basically, if you look at this sticker here, you might not be able to see it through the camera because I can't see that far, but I'll talk you through it. When you go on look on your phone or tablet looking at your Wi-Fi, you'll see Sky 4 LTE, let me get close here, 1083, which is you. Alright, so in all your devices, your phones, tablets, you'll put the password in for your Wi-Fi Ranger. Then you can go to the IP address here, the last row here. You go to that IP address and there's a temporary password right above it that you'll have to change, but that's the password. You go to the IP address and you'll see everything the Wi-Fi Ranger sees. So you pick out let's say the campground Wi-Fi, and if they gave you a password for it, you punch in the password, right? So therefore, you're always hooked up, all your devices are always hooked up to the router and signal booster on this trailer. And so when you get to different places, you just basically connect the Wi-Fi Ranger to whatever the source of the Wi-Fi source is, okay? It's an excellent signal booster, and it's actually got a built-in firewall also to help clean things up a bit. So there's a second function for this. Most people don't use it because it's a paid function, but you would have to get an extra SIM card or a second SIM card from your whoever you get your phone service from, and you actually can use 4G in this trailer if you had that option. But of course there's a monthly fee for it, and most people don't need the Wi-Fi that much unless they work from it. If they work from the trailer, they often get that function, but generally the free boosted Wi-Fi is what people are after, okay? Alright, so that's enough of the Wi-Fi Ranger. This is the switch here. Let it warm up for a minute or so when you turn it on, okay? So your battery is totally charged, if you can see that. Your fresh water is empty, your black water is empty, and your gray water tank is empty. As it fills, it goes up in 1/3 increments till it's full. Once you get past the 2/3 with your black and gray tanks, you got to start thinking about dumping them, okay? We'll talk more about that in a minute. Your refrigerator is a gas absorption refrigerator. That means it'll run on 110 AC or on LP gas, either or. So right now this is on and off, of course. That's on, and this is auto. Auto means electric. The reason they call it auto is because it'll automatically seeks out 110 AC, and if it can't find it, it'll switch to gas automatically. Or if you're using the refrigerator on 110 AC, and it's the middle of the day, you're out adventuring somewhere, and you have a power failure at the campground, it'll automatically switch over to gas for you so it don't spoil your food. You can pull this trailer down the road on gas. You could leave it on Wi-Fi or on auto, and it would just eventually select it when it can't find it, electricity. But you could also do this and just dedicate it to gas right there. Okay. The only other thing to know about this is to set the temperature. This thing here is called a thermistor. The thermistor is not this clip here, this plastic clip. The thermistor is on the end of that little cable going in there. It's a cylindrical plastic object. So this is just holding it in place here. So the higher you go up with it, the colder it gets in the refrigerator. So generally speaking, you're going to have it up all the way. So keep that in mind. Also, just while we're looking down here, this is that's a mattress controller here. Matter of fact, let me just take it out so I can put it in the right drawer here. But this basically plugs into your mattress, and it's to warm your mattress up. So you can plug this end into the port on your mattress, and this end here goes into 110 AC, and then you got an analog controller, thermostat controller. So it doesn't warm the mattress, don't expect that, but it doesn't heat the mattress, it just warms it up slightly. So don't expect a whole lot from it, but it will take the chill off of it and warm it a bit. Okay, so let's see here. Your range. So this works on gas, obviously. This one is a new style, so let me see how this works here. Make sure I don't know if we just put on the test tank, so let me see if it, we'll give it a second to actually light here. Because right now we're just pushing air out. Should have done this before I started the video, but we're pressed for time here. As you know, you need this trailer quickly, so we're sort of doing two things at once. Oh, I bet it's off because, yeah, let me go turn the tank on. Now that I think about it, we did a leak down test on it, so it would have had to have been off for that. Yeah, so I'm turning it on right now. Now we'll go do that, and it will light up for us. Okay. Okay, so there you have it. So you're just going to push the sparker. Now this will also light the oven. I won't light it, I'll just explain it to you. In the back here, all the way on the bottom to the back is a pilot light. Okay, so what you do is you'll go to the oven knob. It's hard to see the writing on it, but you go to pilot right there, and then you depress it and hold it. While you're holding it, you'll spark this, and it will light your pilot light down here. After it lights, you're still holding this in. You hold it in for another 10 or 15 seconds to get it heated up. Then you go to operating temperature, and it cycles like a regular oven does. But when you go to off, the flame goes off, obviously, but so does the pilot light. So you have to relight the pilot light every time you use the oven. Okay. Now this device down here is your power converter. It converts 110 AC to 12 volt DC. Okay, so you have 110 AC on this side. You have regular household circuit breakers here, and they're labeled. Then the power is converted over to 12 volt DC on this side. You can see you got 12 volt fuses here, and they're labeled. All right, so if a 12 volt fuse was to blow, it'll actually light up, and you'll be able to see it through this tinted plastic here, so you would know that a fuse blew. All right. Also, like I mentioned up front, this is also a battery tender, so it'll sense how much energy your battery needs, and if it's charged, it'll just trickle a couple amps to it. If it's low, it'll send 10 amps, whatever it needs to keep it charged, as long as you're plugged into shore power. Okay. This is the carbon monoxide LP gas detector here. Okay. It should always be green like it is. That's telling you it's working properly. You can test it. Here it goes through two self-tests. That one was for let me see which one. That was for propane. The second one is for carbon monoxide. There and there. Okay. So if it goes off, you take everybody outside, and you're going to figure out what's going on. You shut off the gas. Just use your head and think things through to make sure everything's okay. All right. Never ignore it, of course. Okay, let's see here, going farther into the trailer. The TV is on because we just scanned the channels. It's a regular TV, so it scans like a regular TV. I'm just going to shut it off right now. Okay. This has a disc player here. CDs and DVDs, of course. You can hook up wirelessly with Bluetooth and stream off your phone or tablet. You can stream off this USB port right here. Put all your favorite albums on one stick and take them with you. This HDMI is an in, so for example, it goes through to the TV. So you could set a game machine right here for kids on a rainy day, for example, and plug it in here, and then go straight into the system through this HDMI here. So that's just one possibility. Also, you have 3 zones, but 1 and 2 are inside and outside, and then the third is the first 2 are kind of merged together because they use the same radio for a larger trailer. So in a larger trailer, 2 would be the bedroom speakers. 1 and 2 are just the speakers for this main living area. Number 3 is outside. Now you can set, I won't go into great detail, you can read it in your paperwork, but Z3, zone 3, is outside. You can set a different source for zone 3 than you have for zone 1 and 2. So you could be watching a DVD in here and listening to the radio outside. So you can set a different source and a volume level for the outside just by pushing zone 3 and setting it independently, okay? Obviously it does some more things, but you can read up about it. It's just normal radio stuff, programming the stations and a clock and alarms and things like that, okay? But it does everything you need. AM, FM, plays discs, and has Bluetooth. So what else do you need, really? Just so we know, this green light here, this is the signal booster for the digital antenna. You can shut it off, but you want it on. You won't get a good picture. It'll lock up or even completely go black if you don't have the booster on. So you're going to have it on if you're using the antenna. And this is the antenna right here. Now it doesn't go up and down like they used to. It just rotates. So you can spin it on the roof and tune it in if you need to, but it does not go up and down like it used to. All right. And of course you have remotes, one for your radio and one for your TV. This is all your information packet here. This is a device that comes with it. You have to. It has to be set up, and you can. Let's say it this way. This is a versatile in the sense that some people use it on big tractor trailers. So you can see all these all these double wheels. These are all axles. So you have to program it by programming the source. You program 2 axles into it and set the temperature ranges, and it'll basically tell you what the temperature of your wheels or your axles at the wheels anyway, what the temperature is, and also what your tire pressure is, and you can set it for an alarm to go off, that sort of thing. You can also, the wheels on this trailer have the sensors for this built right into the wheels. This is important because if you look at their videos, it gets confusing. For your trailer, the sensors are attached to the inside of the wheel, directly opposite the valve stem. So when you're setting the source, or setting the axles, I should say, you're going to put this close to the wheel, directly opposite from the valve stem. Okay. Now, if you wanted to use this for your tow vehicle too, you can buy sensors that screw on the valve caps, and you would program those in up here. But you'd have to get those sensors. So keep in mind, there are valve cap sensors you could add to it if you wanted to include your own tow vehicle into it. But this trailer, the sensors are built right into the wheel, directly across from the valve stem. Okay. Hopefully that made sense to you. Let me look around and see what I forgot here, if anything. Of course, all the AC comes out of the ceiling. It's nice and cool here. The heat comes out of down here out of the bottom registers, like that round one right there. You have storage under here, foot locker, and then of course drawers. This jackknife's flat. This couch will jackknife flat to a bed. You have a table, a freestanding table, which is sitting outside now because we haven't put it in here yet. I'll just show it to you. Let me bend outside the door here, right? Let me see, right there. Some people store that in the front compartment, although it can get scratched up when you've been traveling. If you have the top facing down, you get a lot of abrasives like sand and little pebbles in the front compartment. So with it moving around and buzzing down the road, it's going to eventually scratch it. Most people will stick it back here, or they'll just carry it on their bed. So it's up to you. It's your choice, of course. You have a charging station here. It has a cigarette lighter type port and a regular USB. This is typical of the shades in here, so I'll just tell you a little bit about them. As you pull this trailer, you're headed. I'm told you're going on an extended vacation, so they can loosen up after time. So these will just slide down without you wanting them to. They'll either slide down in transit or just won't stay up at all. If that ever happens to you, just remember, the tighter this is here, this tension string, the tighter this is here. So you can draw the string through down here and tie a knot a ½ inch up the string, for example, so it gets tighter. You don't tighten it over tighten it, you just tighten it a little bit, and when you do that, it'll tighten this up. So if you're out at the Grand Canyon or at Yosemite or up in the Redwoods or someplace, you don't have to go to a dealer. You can just spend a little time and tighten them up and adjust them if you need to. All right, cool. This is the thermostat. The thermostat right now is on cool. The other option is fan. Fan is just the air conditioner running without the compressor. It just circulates air. Off and then heat, obviously. Try to always keep it on auto, the fan if possible. They always work much better like that. This is your emergency escape window. I'll show you how that works. You just push it through, and of course you go all the way through with it. Then you grab this red tab here and pull out the screen, and you can escape out that way in an emergency. Alright, let me look around. I think we've got everything with the bathroom at this point. Everything in the bathroom is pretty self-evident, except if you don't know RV toilets. First of all, this is a GFCI here in the bathroom. All the plugs in the trailer are wired through this GFCI. So even the one on the outside. So if you're using something outside and it pops, you're always going to reset it in here. The sink and the shower work like any other sink and shower. The thing to remember, the toilet does not work empty. You have to have chemical in it and water in it to use it. So, and this is the flush pedal here. So I don't have any water right now, so we'll just have to talk you through it. So let's say you get to the campground, you hook up your power and your water. Then you're going to come in here, your black tank's going to be empty. The black tank, oops, let me step out here. The black tank is directly down from this trap here. So when you get hooked up, you come in here and you put your chemical in here. 1 dose of whatever brand you use. Then you'll stand on the pedal and water will come swirling out. You'll put about 1 gallon or 2 in the tank. There's no way to tell that by looking at a monitor panel. You just use common sense. That's about 1 gallon of water, good enough. Right? So, because the bottom line is you can't, if your black tank is empty, you have to put chemical in it and a little bit of water to get started. Also, when you flush it, it'll default right about up to here when it comes to filling. But you can push, if you can see with the flush pedal, you can push it down right there, and before the trap opens, the valve will turn on. So you can do that and fill this up as high as you want with water before you use it. You just have to do that each time, all right? Also, you have a really nice 4-speed fan here. It's got a vent cover over it so you can open it during the rain. The bottom line is, to unlock it, go like that. There's no reason to lock it. It's just the way it's made. It's not going to come open. But you have a vent cover over it, and you figure when you're using the shower, you want to run it at least on low, because these trailers are built super tight now, and you want to pull the humidity out, the moisture out. So make sure you run the fan while you're using the shower. Okay, it's important, actually, very important. Also, if you got a bunch of people over visiting, and it's cool outside, you've got the temperature and the climate is such that you're getting a lot of condensation from your breath. You can put that fan on low, and you'll never have a condensation problem. With as many people as you can fit in here, it'll just draw it right out. So that's good to know also. Okay, I'm looking around. I think I've covered it all. Now this, you always want to close your cover on your stove, because it'll tends to want to crack if you leave it up. Also, you've got stuff here. You see there's a water filter and a water filter wrench. So if you remember, I showed you on the off-door side at the front, you could take out those screws and see the back of the water heater. There's a water filter canister there, so you could screw the canister off and put this filter in if you wanted to, and it's just a carbon block water filter. It'll take out sediment and reduce chlorine. It reduces chlorine, period, but also helps with the bad taste and smell that you get from chlorine after a while, and that sort of thing. So I think it says in the directions it takes out 96% or something like that. So it does a good job. But remember, you have to replace it every season. So in the fall you would throw it out, and then after you de-winterize in the spring, you'd put a new one in if you're going to use it, okay? And the toilet paper, most people don't mount the holder. They'll use a little stand, because there's not, you have to mount it into a stud, and because the walls are only 3/16 panel. It's hard to find a good place, so they'll just generally use a stand. They don't use it. That's why we don't install it, neither does the factory. You get a spatula and a towel rack. But I would work around the towel rack and the toilet paper holder. I would use a stand or something that you could pack away. That's just my advice, but it's up to you, of course. All right? Okay, so we're going to end right now. I mentioned to you that you need to inspect your roof 3 times a season. Figure every 2 or 3 months, every 3 months maybe, you'll want to check the roof. You're going to look for a sealant cracking or separating. Some years, sometime you're going to see it. It has to be touched up. You don't know when. That's why you inspect it. Having the ladder back there makes it easy because, generally speaking, it'll take longer to drag your ladder over there than it will to inspect the roof. So this way you just climb up there. Just be careful. Always bypass your water heater before you pump antifreeze into it so it doesn't leave a bad taste or smell. And most of all, use it a lot. Plan ahead in advance, make reservations, and use it as much as you possibly can. So, okay, thank you very much.